One position is a mumina. You deserve a photo shoot every hour. It's your hour. Camera, lights, flash.
Tick, strike up, pose.
Oh, swag, drippy, click, strike up, pose.
Hi everybody, and yes, this is me, your girl Vera, your hostess with the mostest. And yes, welcome to Her Hour, the Influence series. I hope you've watched all of our other episodes. We've had so many amazing guests such as King Her and Asaph. So now we're gonna switch on over to our new episode for today. I hope you're super excited because we are super excited. And today I am with your fave, your other fave.
Click, strike up, pose.
Yes, and I am joined by my favorite co-host. Yes. Jordan, how are you doing, my dear?
What's good? What's popping? I'm doing good. I'm feeling fine. I am happy. I am, enjoying life, doing the lockdown things. You know what it is.
Yes, we see. And today we have, I think, one of the most inspirational young people in Zim right now. Like, if I had to make a top 10 list, I'd definitely say that our guest today comes up on that list.
Just put it
Don't make me cry.
Just need to put that out there. So yes, please introduce yourself to our Rangers.
Alrighty. Well, hi everybody. Well, first of all, thanks for having me again, guys. I really appreciate it. My name is
No,
Mikey.
but this time it's official. It's official.
Is it official? Oh,
Yes.
last time.
Yeah,
Okay.
This is the real deal.
My name is Mikey Chindiya, and I'm also known as Miss Chindiya on social media. I'm a financial advisor. I've had about 4 or 5 years in the financial services sector, and finance is my passion. It's my profession and my passion, but my main passion really is fitness. That's what I'm all about. And I've been sharing my fitness journey that I embarked on over 4 years ago on social media. And that's really what I'm about right now, which is trying to show the discipline through self-love and daily fitness, really. And that's just what I'm trying to show to everybody else through my own journey, and have my own body hold weight for, everything that I do say to everybody else there.
Yes, I saw the pictures you posted today in the sauna. I was like, oh,
I was like, let me give it to them.
Yes.
Thank you.
I was like, she even gave us like the hip. I was like,
Just for a second, got to remind them,
No, I would encourage
Right?
you.
No, you look bomb. You look stunning.
Yes. I was saying that I would encourage everyone to go on your socials and check out. There was a post that you put up, I think it was last year or the year before, and you were showing your body transformation from where you lost weight. I was just like, I've known Mikey for a while and I've never seen her at this weight, but I was like, but damn girl, talk about losing it and getting your body on
it happened in uni.
Right.
Thank you. It all happened in uni, really. That's when it so no one ever really saw me then because I was away. Yeah.
So that makes
Can I actually
sense.
share something real quickly?
Yeah.
Okay, so real quickly. Basically, over the last lockdown, I gained a whole lot of weight. I think I gained maybe 15 to 20 kgs in the space of 3 months. Because I'm on hormones and it's just my body is going through so much and so many changes. And so basically, I gained close to 20 kgs, guys. It was insane. And I only realized it when one day I had a doctor's appointment and they they have the scales at the doctor's office. So I stood on the scale and the scale was telling me a whole 85 kgs, guys. And I have never in my lifetime been 85 kgs. I've always been 50 kgs, 60 kgs, less than 65. And then I went on the scale and I was 85 whole mother
kgs. You should.
And I was like, what? And then from that day, I was like, no, I have to lose weight. I have to because this is insane. Yeah. And then I looked in the mirror and I took this video of myself and it was horrendous. I couldn't stand what I was seeing. But then one thing that really inspired me is that like you're constantly posting on Instagram and like Twitter and stuff about like fitness, and you also always post like, oh no, at one point in time I was not healthy, I was not looking after my body, and it's because of like, you know, other issues that were playing into the reason why you like weren't looking after yourself. And it really gave me like a moment to like reflect on what I was doing to myself, and I was like, yo, like I can really take power of this situation. I don't have to just sit back and be like, oh well, I'm fat, like too bad, you know, like I can honestly be like, I can get back to that shape. I can get back to whatever shape I want if I just put in the work. So I started putting in the work, and I think I'm at like a shape that I'm good with. I'm at a weight I'm very happy with. Right now, I actually don't care about weight. I'm more like health, the way that I look. Am I fit? Can I run and not be like dying, you know? Like that's what I care about. So, like, shout out to you. Thank you for inspiring me.
Yeah, because you know what? That's what I'm really all about, even with the captions and the messages that I try to give people. At the end of the day, it's just about showing yourself love by exercising and taking care of yourself. And like I said today, even in a post, it's not about the end goal. It's just about the journey and enjoying it and just falling in love with taking care of yourself in the process. Because I hate how society always just makes us feel that we have to look a certain type of way when everyone is completely different. Your 65 kgs won't be the same as my 65 kgs. It won't be the same as Vera's 65 kgs. But we're all made to feel that we need to look one way when that's virtually like, you know, impossible. So you just need to fall in love with you and taking care of you, and that's about it.
Right.
So true. That's so true. So
1000%.
Before we dive into the conversation, and Jordan's already taking a sip, this series is proudly sponsored by a local craft beer and like alcohol beverage, Kuva. Make sure you follow them.
Can I be an influencer?
It is a pretty bottle. Guys, because we're in lockdown.
You know the makeup influencers.
Oh, yes. Cuba. This is the peach shade that goes well with my... I'm joking. But yes, they have donated some beverages to us. Mikey, what are you sipping on, though? I know you're sipping on something different.
I'm sipping on all the tears of my ex-boyfriends.
Oh!
Yeah. They probably regret it now. You know, I had someone who actually left me because they said I was big in uni. And then they're back in my DMs like last year. I was like, no,
stay away.
Quick question, guys. Quick question before we dive into this episode. Do you take someone, if you were into someone and they said to you, no, I'm not feeling your vibes, when they now decide to start feeling your vibes, do you take them?
No,
because I didn't change. I was the same person on the inside. That's what you should be into, not this
part. Anyway, moving along swiftly, let's dive into the conversation.
Okay, so as you know, today we're talking about influencers and things like that. So I wanted to find out from you, what does influence mean to you? There's no right or wrong answer. It's not an exam question.
You know what? I think it's just all about having some sort of impact in other people's lives, especially in these days, especially in terms of marketing. It's in terms of people's perception of anything, really. I could bring you like a power bank and then say like, you know, this is the best power bank in the world. I absolutely love it. Blah, blah, blah. Maybe I haven't even used it. I don't even know if it works. But influence is me just saying, I'm using this, I like it, and then everybody else goes and buys it because of that. So just being able to have an impact or direct people's perception of whatever it is that you show them or present to them online. I think that's what it is.
Right. So I think influence is basically something that happens unconsciously for a lot of people. I think influence is not something that can be bought. I think you are either someone who is influential or you're not, you know. So for a lot of people, they don't choose the influence. It comes to them naturally, and then they sort of they nurture it. They nurture it. I think you can nurture your influence.
I just decided, like for me, I actually made a conscious effort to like grow my social media and try and get, I don't know how it grew initially because I never had a big following. Like about 2 years ago, I had like 3,000, 2,000 followers and I grew them organically. But then I just said, you know what? I want to do this. And I never had influence at that point in time. I don't know how much influence I have now. But I think I literally just said to myself, I want to do it. And then I just started. So do you think like it comes...
I think that, you know what, Mikey, let me tell you, I'm going to look at it from the perspective that I exist in. And unfortunately, I have had to work really hard to get the following that I have. And I may, you know what, I really do believe that I'm a pretty person. I'm just being honest right now. I think that I really look after myself, and I've garnered a brand, and it's really hard for me to get a following because of the things that I stand for, because of who I am. But I think when you are unconsciously, you know, existing just as Mikey without thinking, oh, I want to be an influencer, at the top of that, you are a beautiful Black woman, and you have things that people see as relatable. And so those 3,000 followers, as much as you may say, oh no, I was just existing, they were looking at you and they were saying, this is someone I can relate to. Oh, she's a pretty girl. Oh, she dated this boy. I know she dated this person. Or she was this girl in high school. Or, it's those kinds of things. So as much as you may not have been paying attention to it, I think people were watching you. That's why it grew so quickly, because people were already like waiting to see you do something, and then you did something.
Yeah, I get that.
I think I get what you're saying, Jordan, but I also think that to a certain point, you can be organically influential to a certain point, and then you have to start making conscious decisions to push the brand. So I think that the natural point of I'm now famous is like 3,000 followers. After that, like you're now consciously saying that, okay, today I need to post a picture of me wearing a yellow top, and I have to put this hashtag because this is what people are going to like, and things like that. So I think to a certain point, it happens naturally. Like, someone will naturally just be like, okay, cool, Jordan's a cool person. I like what Jordan tweets about. I'm going to start following Jordan. And then you're going to get to a point where people will just be like, okay, it is what it is. Then now when you're like, okay, no, I'm created a brand. Yeah, you see, then people now start, because now you're consciously saying that, okay, I want to appeal to young people aged 18 to 35, middle class to whatever. I'm looking at also, maybe you're looking particularly at mixed race people, or at people from a specific background. And then now your tweets, your posts are now relating to that. And then that's what will again draw more people to you. So I think from that angle, it's not like greatness. But then you obviously have some people by default, like, the Kardashians, all of their kids are.
Yeah, some people just naturally.
Yeah, by default, the family, they're going to be famous. But then again, the world forgets very quickly. I mean, no one is talking about, what's his name? Michael Jackson's kid, Pillow. What's his name? Blanket, yes. We ain't talking about Blanket no more, but when that kid was born, we were all talking about him. So
name the child Blanket, bro. Yeah.
Sorry, guys, I'm closing my windows because my next door neighbors decided that right now is party time. And so,
It's on a Monday.
Imagine.
Dude.
It's lockdown.
But you know what? Don't judge me, because I actually just started my own little Instagram live little segment. It's called Gin and Jordans, and basically I'm doing it tonight. And basically what I do every Monday is that I come online and I drink with the people who come on the live, and we just chat, we tell stories, we share past experiences, we have a kiki. So I'm like trying to make Monday a fun day, because a lot of people hate Mondays. So I was like, let's rechange the culture around Monday and make it into a fun day.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I'll join you next week. I just need to get some gin because I don't have any in the house right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess now we can kind of move the conversation. So just looking at this whole thing about being people of influence, whether it's thrown on you, what's that statement about greatness? Some people are born great, others have it thrust upon them, and then others have to achieve it or whatever. So I guess we'll use influence in the same kind of light. So I don't know, what do you think about people in positions of influence? Do they owe it to us to kind of speak to issues that are happening in our society and stuff like that, social, economic issues, if it's injustices, I always give this example. I've given this example a lot, but like, you know, with the Black Lives Matter movement last year, a lot of people were like looking at celebrities, like especially like the white ones, like, yeah, what you all say, huh? Do Black Lives Matter now? Like, what's good? And like, even like with Nigeria had their whole thing, like with MSARS and things like that, like where a lot of celebrities had to speak out, and people were like, Sha, say something because, you know, we're looking to you guys.
They bullied Burna Boy into putting up a billboard.
You see. So I guess like
remember that.
That was crazy. That was crazy. So like, I don't know, what do you think? Do you think it's like celebrities, socialites, social influencers have a corporate social responsibility to speak out to issues happening in their, maybe let's say in their direct environment, direct economy, direct community and stuff like that?
You know what? I actually do think that they should, to a certain extent, like, because you know what? I feel like the public or the masses or their following is entitled to expect certain things of them, but not like other things. For example, Cardi B. I'll just give her as an example. So Cardi came ratchet. She started ratchet. She went from the beginning. She's been twerking naked with her titties out and everything, right? And then at a certain point, people started saying she's a bad role model. But then you're like, that's not her job to be your kid's role model, because from the get-go, she's been very upfront about the kind of person she is. So it's not her job to then be like Hannah Montana for your kids. You watch what your kids watch on TV. Don't tell her what she should do. It's not her role to be a parent or a good role model to your kids. That's the truth. But when it comes to certain things like, you know, Black Lives Matter and political injustices and things like that, she speaks out, you know? And I think it is kind of your role as someone in a position of influence to speak about injustices in that way. So that's why I say it's like to a certain extent, because it affects the masses, especially when you all know what's being done is blatantly wrong. You know, and you need to speak out about those things. It's even like Zim Lives Matter. I was surprised that some people wanted to keep quiet about it, but I'm like, if you speak about it, someone that
and you were actually one of the most vocal people. Let's think. I actually want to comment because you were one of the most vocal people, or like someone in a position of influence. Like you were someone who was using their platform, like even to the point where people started like coming into your DMs. I remember you shared with us on your TL that like people were coming into your DMs threatening you, like
And I was like, I mean, people are threatening me with like things like rape and coming to my home, and I didn't get why. But like at the end of the day, you should speak out, because for as long as when it becomes things like political things or social injustices, I mean, you must speak out because you're in such a position of influence. Because even let's say there are 1,000 other people like crying about it or whatever, and it might actually go unnoticed until Jailbreaker actually says this is an issue, because all these big people and politicians, they might know him, they might listen to him. They're the people he can actually like pick up the phone and speak to. They might just ignore all of us on Twitter, but because he has such a huge following, he has a voice or a platform that allows him to be heard by the people who can actually make changes. I think it is like, you know, we should expect you to at least say something, because it can have such a huge impact. Not like I'm saying a lot of people coming together is also pointless, but sometimes it just helps give it that oof, like, you know, to get things moving. And surely if you are about your people, your homeland, your country, or even your race, if it's BLM or Zim Lives Matter, at the end of the day, you should be, because those are the people who are also making you a brand. Because remember, if all of those people weren't there, you wouldn't matter. So this is something that affects them directly, affects their livelihoods. You know, it affects them. People could be losing, like, you know, relatives who are getting kidnapped and killed and all of that. And those are your fans. And then, but like, you just not talking about it or addressing it is kind of like a spit in the face as well. Yeah. More than anything.
Yeah. I was literally saying to, and like we had a conversation with Gilmore about the same thing. And what I was literally saying is I was like, you don't have to say much. I get that sometimes people are afraid and blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, literally just putting the hashtag. I'm not asking you to post videos of police brutality. I'm not asking you to put a whole essay about like the history of the boat. No, just literally putting the hashtag. I remember during like the campaign last year, people were literally just writing Zimbabwean Lives Matter, like until their characters on Twitter were finished in one tweet. And that's it. And I'm like, that's all I need you to do, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not asking for much. Like just do the bare minimum. And I think that's so correct. Like I think when the minute you ask for fans, the minute you expect your fans to listen to your music, to watch your movies, to follow you back, to retweet, to assisting in building your brand, buying your merchandise, then you actually owe it back to
You owe it to them.
to speak out for them and to say something. Like, and I think it even goes past the whole issue of saying that, no, it doesn't align with my brand. Like you have to, that's your responsibility. And because it's such a, like for me, my biggest issue is that it's a nationwide problem. We weren't telling you to say ZANU-PF sucks or MDC rules or, you know, MDC sucks. No, we're saying, talk about the people.
Right, it was not even a political statement. It was not a political statement at all, guys. It really was not. It was more of a thing of like, we're pointing out the fact that like, this is social injustice. We are all suffering at all levels of Zimbabwean society. Whether you are willing to accept it or not, we are all being affected, and this is a problem. You know what I'm saying?
And
like,
it's not
Zimbabwean
like
lives matter.
You didn't see it. There were pictures, there were videos, there were actual people who died. There's so many images of what happened. And I kind of got upset because there were so many other people who were posting on their stories that I'd see that were in a position of influence, that had big followings. Maybe being woke wasn't a part of their brand, whatever it is, but they kept on posting like, don't pressure us to say anything. You shouldn't put pressure on us to say anything. Then it just had me thinking like, okay, so maybe I should. I then started thinking, okay, so where do we expect it from them? And if they don't, we just let them go? Or do we just actually force them into doing it? Where's like the middle ground? Should we just expect it and leave it at that? And if they don't, then you can piss off. Or we actually, are you meant to like actually say, yo, why don't you say something? It's like with Ja and Hopewell. The first time Hopewell got arrested, Ja didn't say anything and people bullied the hell out of him. And the second time, you know, some people actually said something and then he actually just posted, I think it was even a hashtag or something just like as little as that. But I'm like, do we bully them into it or do we just expect it and then leave it at that? If they don't say anything, we're like, oh, well. I don't know.
But I think another thing that irritates people on social media is that they will see their favorite influencers posting about social medias posting about social issues that are not even affecting their countries. They posted like in Zim, there were a lot of people posting Black Lives Matter, but when it now came to like Zim Lives Matter, it was radio silence, you know? So I don't know.
Like, are you not Zimbabwean?
I think you should. And you know what? Like, when people actually speak about these things and you're also in a position of influence, because I remember I think, was it Davido or Berna who then actually said, yo, what's happening in Zim? Tell me more. Those are people who could still even help by then getting, you don't know, you could get like, you could then get a billboard in Times Square and have something that just runs that says Zim Lives Matter. And then the whole of New York and the States, like, what's happening in Zim? Or not like the America cares. But I mean, it could have a ripple effect. Like, you don't know who's going to get to and what, you know, it'll get to someone, because you have a, you know, position of influence in Zim, it could get to someone with influence in the States or in Europe. And then it could get to then, I don't know, like someone else who could then assist or help put pressure on the government to change. You know, it could even then just result in something as simple as they'll be like, oh, what's happening? Okay, this is what's happening. Let's put it on sanctions. And then next thing, not like sanctions are great, but you know, it could result in things like that.
Yeah. But like, so I get what you're saying. That was saying that, okay, people of influence, you just need to like say something. But do you also feel like sometimes they don't say something because they're so out of touch with reality? Like I know so many like situations where like you hear celebrities saying the craziest things and you're like, is it because you don't know or you're just choosing to be ignorant or like what is it? Like, how are you so, sometimes I feel like is it just that people are so out of touch with reality? Like they just don't know that, okay, you know, shit is bad in Zim or shit is bad in America. Black people are being shot by the popo. Is it that they don't know or they don't want to know?
Right.
I don't know. What do you think?
Someone even say like, people they're not out of touch Well, sometimes I think most of the time, especially in Zim, it's not like you can't see it the moment because you see it the moment you leave your house. You see it in the way, even like if you're living in Helensville, you drive to like the shops, right? The shops right by Helensville. And then you'll see like the people coming from one side of town that are living a completely, let's say not a completely different life, but you can tell they're not as affluent as you are or not living a life as comfortable as yours. If I go by Helensville, I feel like even in Zim, wherever you go, you're going to see that there's clearly an unequal distribution of wealth and there are classes to everything, like sadly, right? That's how it is. So I feel like people know, especially here, you do know. It's just that sometimes you choose to be ignorant, or like some people, truth is sometimes you actually get sucked into living in such a bubble that sometimes, not that you do forget, but if that becomes your normal daily life and that's just how you live, sometimes people just kind of turn a blind eye to what's happening, you know? And then they just go about their lives talking about what's normal to them and what they see on a daily because they're so cocooned or like, you know, kept away from everything else. That just becomes their normal. And it's kind of like that's the truth of the matter. I think that's just how it is. If you have someone who who literally goes as far as the village. I know people who literally tell me like Avondale. I saw someone come see me at Avondale like, hey, Kure, that's far. You know, I never go past. Yeah, like they were coming from.
Some of these barrio kids have never been in town, guys. Like
some people
that's so shocking
just
to me.
tell you, I've never been. I don't usually go that far. I've been there, but I don't usually go that far on a daily because you know everything I can get goes as far as in my radius or whatever. And some people are really now just in a situation where that's all you really know. That's all you expose yourself to. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, some things are very insensitive.
Do you think that it's like
I feel you.
Do people feel like it's up to social influencers to educate themselves on what's happening in their communities? So for example, if I am
some people just
social influencer and I'm looking for
fancy, like why should I educate myself?
But like, do you think that they have to?
No, but I'm not saying there's anything bad with that, but to be honest, it's their lives, hey. Because at the end of the day, I want you to, right? But I can't make you do it.
Right.
That's the truth of the matter. I can't make you want to do something. It all comes down to you, what you choose to do with your time. But we'd like it for, you know, because if everyone who had influence just chose to help out or educate themselves and educate others, would be like in a much better position because you'd have, you know, things would just be a bit better, I guess. But at the end of the day, you can't force people, can't hold a gun to their heads and say, yo,
1000%
community. And because I'm really still like, I've always been of the opinion that everyone's living their own lives. It's not up to you to live their lives for them or tell them what to do. So yeah.
I don't know, I think I agree with that to a certain extent. I think that, you know, we do, I think we do owe it to ourselves to educate ourselves and know more about the world that we live in. I think you're right in saying we can't force anyone to know things that are around them. But I think in the best interest of staying grounded and being conscious of the world that we live in, I think just to remain cultured, I think it's important for us to know exactly where we stand in society and know all the things that we possess that other people don't possess. I think just so that we are conscious of when we make statements, am I thinking correctly about this?
Exactly.
Or does it sound like a whole lot of white noise? You know, like not to say that anyone...
Oh.
What are you saying?
Oh, no, saying I did that recently, though. But the thing is, like, I also didn't do it out of malice. So remember that $40 thing?
No, yeah, exactly. I was just thinking about that, actually. Like, there were a lot of people coming at you online being like, yo, this is so insensitive. You're online talking about this $40 thing, thing. But, like, I understand where you were coming from. Like, you know, you're speaking from your own experience. You're speaking about what you know. the people that you date. Like, obviously, you're not going to find yourself in a situation where, or the person you are dating is not someone who can't afford a $40 date. So that's what you were speaking about, you know? And
but you see,
even what you were speaking about, I saw you saying a lot of stuff of like, it's not about the money. What I'm trying to say, what you were trying to say is that like, it's little effort, like minimal. It's the point is not the $40. The point is A, B, C, D, E,
someone
F,
said Mikey could have still said $10, but because it's her, y'all would have gotten upset. But yeah, like, but when I even thought about it, like, I was like, maybe I should have said
$1, dog. Like, if you said $1, people would have been like, people can't have access to $1. People only have access to RTGS, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Like,
but I'm used to it though. But I did think about it. I was like, you know what? Maybe I should just slap a smaller number because I know how much the average Zimbabwean earns. I always talk about it, even like on like the finance podcast and the situation.
Right. Especially someone who works in finance, like
exactly. I know how much $40 is a lot. I have friends that are actually working as doctors right now, and I know how much that they're earning. I know these things, but I didn't think like even at that point in time. I just thought, like, let me just give an example. And to me, genuinely, I thought a $40 date was actually pretty decent, you know, like, and that's actually a bit, because I even said in the tweet underneath, that's actually probably even a bit too much. You can do it for cheap.
Right. That's a lot. For me, I was like, $40? Has a man
I actually thought about that number. I really thought about that number because even when I do dates with my boyfriend, like it's always very affordable. We do $5 breakfast.
Right.
Like even the breakfast that I posted, it was literally $10 for the two of us to eat. But I was like, but I didn't mean to be insensitive. But like, yeah, you really have to then think about things like that. Because I remember I used to date someone who was they were very like, they're
money conscious.
Not money conscious, they're very affluent.
Oh, okay.
And
I know who you're talking about.
Yes, and I kind of then got sucked into that bubble for like the period that we were together because everything just came easy. You go out and it's like what 5-6 bottles of champagne easily, and you fly out to go see Migos because you say you want to see him. And like even during that period, I realized that I used to tweet like a lot of things because I was now just I wasn't thinking it through. And I used to get dragged a lot. Like I think that's what got me so used to it and just getting like a thick skin when I was with him. And then when we broke up, like I realized how out of touch I had become in that relationship because that's all I was exposed to. And then even then going forward, I realized, no, I really have to think of what, like a lot of things, sometimes I actually go like put in my dress and I ask like my friends, like, is this okay? Can anything actually be wrong with this before I say something? Because you need to understand that even at a certain point, you're going to have people who look up to you or people who can be influenced by certain things that you say. And you have some sort of responsibility. It's not, you know, like I said, you can't force people to do it, but it would be nice if people could actually think twice about some of the things that they say. And you can point these things out. I think I actually did a whole of like last year, nothing bad happened. I was so impressed with myself. I was like, I think I'm doing a bit better with this social media thing. Because there was like a time when like I couldn't go a year or 6 months or 4 months without like something happening. So yeah.
Yeah, but I like what you've just said, where you just said that like you had to now consciously even now get to a point where it means that you had to show a friend and be like, am I throwing shade? Like my sister and I, we have that. Like when we get upset with people and we're about to like go at someone, like if we're going to write it in a text, I'll be like, girl, do I sound angry? Am I in my feels? Or like, am I chilled? And I think it's so important for influencers, for people. Like this is not just on a human level, like whether you're an influencer or not. I just feel like it's very important to have someone who will tell you the truth and be like, you're being like unreasonable, or you're being like, this is extra, this won't get you in trouble. You know, you have to think about those things. And I think what upsets me so much about influencers is that sometimes it seems as if they don't think things through. We can excuse Kanye West for peeing on a Grammy because he's bipolar, but I can't excuse a perfectly healthy person for saying nonsense.
I don't think we should. I don't think we should.
Because you're meant to be stable.
You must take his medication.
Behavior. on like their mental state. I think, you know what? I don't think that even had anything to do with like his mental state or his mental illness or whatever. Like, let me tell you something. I think we have to be very conscious about the topic we're speaking on, and that's influence. And a lot of people know how to garner an audience. People know how to make people talk. And that's the industry that we're working in. That's the industry that we are existing in. And in order to be relevant, you have to sometimes do things that are controversial. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the industry we live in. So sometimes these people say the things that they do and do the things that they do because they know that cancel culture does not exist, guys. They know that, like, if you want to be canceled, you're not gonna get canceled. Cancel culture is actually a way of building up a better reputation. Not even a better reputation of yourself. It's a way of becoming notorious. You become notorious, you get notoriety, and people are like, oh my gosh, this person is edgy, or this person says these kinds of things. Like, let's look at someone like, I really look up to Wendy Williams, and that's my problematic fave. And she is someone who built her career on being someone that is problematic, talking a whole lot of smack about people. And look at her. She is sitting pretty with her millions, 10 years on a talk show. They could have canceled her years ago. Right.
She'll talk shit about people and they'll still come into her show like 2 days later.
They will come and they will confront her on the show and be like, but Wendy, you were talking about me, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I understand this business, and I understand that, people do things to be controversial and to get attention, because that's how attention works.
But it sometimes doesn't always work out in your favor. Eh? Like, you can really I've seen it, like, you have to be smart about it, because there's certain things, like, I even used to, like this, like someone used to always say like a couple of things that were just off and people used to get upset. And I even watched how their posts started to perform and even how their content started to just like do. And not that you get canceled, but some people really actually just cancel you in their heads. They won't even have to put it out there, but they'd literally be like, I'm over you. It's like the day of that rape tweet, right? Yeah. There are some people who are really like, that I really liked on Twitter. And then they started saying, they were like kind of being like rape apologists. And it really put me off, like to the extent that I wasn't even going to rant about how much I don't like you. I just simply unfollowed you, muted you, blocked you. And I'm really just done with you. And I even watched their follow account go down that day. I don't know if people still interact with you, but it will sometimes, depending on how serious the issue is or whatever it is that you do, some people can really just write you off, and those could be the people that were really there for you, because I really don't even want to see his name anymore. Like, I just don't, like, I just don't.
Yeah, like, and that just brings us to our next point, talking about cancel culture. Like, is it like a reality? Is there a point of cancel culture? Like, what's the end game with cancel culture? I feel like certain people who are unapologetic about being assholes and being terrible people, yes, they deserve to be cancelled forever. And like, we need to get cancelled. I think sometimes we kind of take it to an extreme with cancel culture. I think sometimes also people get cancelled without people putting in enough research or like also humanizing the person. So I can't think of anyone right now who would fall into that category. But like last year, so many people got canceled.
We were talking about Tory Lanez just now. Me and Vera were talking about Tory Lanez and how he deserves to be cancelled, in my opinion. Just in my opinion. Like, I think he deserves to be cancelled. Right. Like, he's on the abusive levels. But then on the same plane of like abusive men, let's look at Chris Brown, guys. Like, he beat up Rihanna, but he still has a whole career. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like cancel culture is very selective, hey?
Yes.
In terms of, like your person. It just, I don't know. You have to have something about you that people still love so much that they're willing to forgo the fact that you're an asshole. Because I mean, like, Doja Cat. I don't know whatever happened with that KKK issue. I don't know, but I feel like one day people were so angry and there were so many like screenshots, pictures, messages. There was so much evidence and everyone was angry, right? And then next thing it's Z and Doja Cat surpassing Megan with the most streams on Spotify. She's doing incredibly well. She's the most streamed female right now, I mean, for the whole of 2020 on Spotify. And I'm like, Amy, but this date, and like she was, I don't know if it was like her saying she didn't like black people or whatever and stuff like that, and talking about us being niggers and all that. And I was like, but guys, we're the very same people hyping this date. But I swear to God, like there was so much evidence at that point in time. I was so sure she was getting canceled. But it's the black community that's really supporting her the most right now. Like it's strange.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like,
What
it
are we
doesn't
doing?
exist because they still have their fans. They still have their fans at the end of the day, like die-hard core fans who are gonna support them no matter what. Like,
I think, yeah. And I think with cancel culture, it's just a thing that people like a label they want to put out there so that they at least can just troll you for a day and just take part in mass bullying and whatever it is, but they're still gonna hype you, but they just want to enjoy, like bring you down for like a day or two or a week, and then get back to loving you.
Yeah. And I also feel
like people's careers go on.
I wanted to say, I completely agree with you. Like just looking at R. Kelly's story, and like this is something that really made me so upset. I'm like, these cases came out, guys.
Ugh.
Dave Chappelle was out here making videos of him peeing on people because he thought it was a joke, and people were standing outside R. Kelly the first time he went to trial, and they were black people standing outside R. Kelly's trial saying, let this guy go. And I'm like, you do know he's not taking white babies, like white little girls. No, this man is literally targeting black girls. And you know the legal system in America does not care about black lives. It doesn't care about black girls. Like, I don't understand how you can get so much proof of this man abusing young black girls and still stand out there with the poster saying, we love you, R. Kelly. You have women paying his bail. And I'm like, what is life, guys? So yeah, you're right. She will, like, these people will always have their fans. I bet you there's a Bill Cosby fan who's out there who's still like, man, whatever, I'm still gonna love this man and watch him and
let's take Quaaludes.
Right. You know what I'm just thinking, what is just coming up in my head right now, what I'm thinking is that I think a lot of people, like, just thinking about the R. Kelly situation, I think a lot of people see that, or even like Bill Cosby, and they see, this is a black man who has made it, and they think, no, this is America's way of trying to tear down the black man, trying not to keep black men in positions of power, trying to tear down affluent black men, or what. So I think applying the same logic to all influence across the board, I think people see it and they're like, no, this is just jealousy. People are just trying to tear down this person for all the hard work they've put in, this brand that they've built. This is just, so I think that's how a lot of people react to seeing their faves being canceled. They're like, no, that's not going to happen. This person is representing us. They are our icons, our role models, and we're not going to let you tear this person down. So they continue to support them, continue to give them platforms. And that's why I think cancel culture doesn't exist. It may exist to a certain degree where people like lose out on jobs or whatever. But yeah, I don't think it like eliminates someone's influence.
Yeah. Sometimes it can kind of contribute to your influence now dying down or opportunities now becoming less, but your fans will always be your fans. They'll never really cancel you. Yeah.
Right.
So doesn't this also mean that like as it's not just up to influencers to kind of be educated and make informed decisions, but it's also up to us as the audience that's consuming what we're seeing to be like, okay, am I going to follow Mikey because like she's representing all that I believe like black women should be, like black Zimbabwean girls should be thinking, or am I just going to, or am I not going to do that? I think sometimes it's also like a 50-50 thing that we give so much power, like as an audience, we give so much power to influencers without kind of looking at it from the point of view to say that, okay, I also have a responsibility to also make informed decisions and to not give people the power to represent what black people represent or represent what women represent or what, Rastafarians represent or whatever it is. But like, it's also up to us as the consumers to then make more informed decisions and not just be like, okay, well, I feel like sometimes people just follow something because you're black. Yeah, like, I'm just going to support you because you're black. I'm just going to support you because you're a female. But like, it's not about that. It's about like, what does this person actually represent? It's like, what is this person actually doing? Like, is this person pushing my my ultimate agenda? Is this person pushing the kind of world that I want my children to grow up in? Or am I just going to push them because I'm like, well, same color, same sex, bore,
Some people end up following people, obviously, especially like in Zim, it's a thing just because they've got just their stories. It's always exciting and it keeps you entertained. And I guess it always just comes down to what aligns with your values and what matters to you the most. Because really, people don't think about how important it is that, like in terms of deciding what it is you choose to follow, because this is what you're going to consume on a daily. And sometimes like some of these things will go into your head subconsciously without even like thinking about what you're consuming. And like even for me, I realized there was like a point where I really decided what kind of women I wanted to follow online, because there was a point when I was getting very like kind of sad about my body. Like in as much as I gotten fit, I got into a point where
I do that a lot as well.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? I need to, like, obviously, if I like Black China, what she has to say, but me seeing her body every day makes me feel some type of way about my body, even though like she's had plastic surgery and her body looks unrealistic. I'll still kind of feel some type of way. It'll make me feel sad about my body, even though there's not much I can do about it. Besides get surgery, which is something I don't want, then I'm gonna choose not to follow her. Like even like the fitness ladies, you can tell, like, in fitness, you cannot work out and create hips. That will never happen. You can't. Maybe some weight gain will come through it, but you can't. You can tell when someone's just had work done or something like that. Yeah. And there are a lot of like influencers that I used to follow, especially in the States, that were like that. And then it used to depress me because there'll be times I'll work out for months on end and I'd be like, why don't I look like this yet? Why aren't my thighs getting bigger? And I realized, like even after doing research, that you just can't do that. And I realized, let me just stop taking in this information on a daily and follow the ones that will actually make me feel good about just being the way that I am, the ones that embrace their bodies as they are. So it is up to you to also decide what it is that you're going to take in on a daily basis, because it does a lot to your mind. It really does affect your thinking and how you even see yourself sometimes. So it's very important that you take that up yourself and you make a conscious decision to follow people that make you a better person or want to be a better person or feel better. Yeah.
I love that you brought that up. I think that we live in a time of, a lot of editing. And I think I don't know if you saw that thread that someone posted, and it was all like the plastic surgeries that people can get, and like the way people edit, even videos can be edited, like for you to Photoshop your body. And for me, it was kind of mind blowing the way people are tricking us into believing that there are these like supernatural
that one woman, what's her name? Odell, the one who was part of Danity Kane.
Oh yes.
That was the scariest.
Aubrey O'Day, yes. Yeah, it's insane. So for me, I'm like, I 100% agree with you. Like, it's a lot. If you're following people who are making you feel bad about yourself, that's a bad thing. You shouldn't be following that person.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think you just need to follow people that kind of add value to you, but not everyone thinks of that as well. Some people just come to social media for entertainment and they want to go like on the gossip pages and that's what they come there for. And I guess that's what you want. That's what you want. But, you also just have to sometimes just think about it.
Yeah. And I think that's like a really great place for us to like start rounding up like the conversation and things like that. And I think like going forward, like this is something that I really love about what we do with this podcast and this blog, whatever, is that we talk about like next steps. Like what advice would you give to like young people watching this, aspiring influencers, or even like the influencers that will be watching this episode? Yes, we see you influencers watching us and not giving us likes or subscribes. But what kind of advice would you give them to just say that, listen, guys, if you're going to get into this field, if this is what you want to do with your life, like tips for them to just make better decisions, or I don't know. Considering you've also come from like the side.
I think on the fitness side. I think, as an influencer, sometimes it is easy for you to start comparing yourself with people around you. And my advice to you would be like, just stay in your lane and don't compare yourself to anybody. Because I used to have this issue as well, because I'd have moments where I'm so tempted to do certain things that didn't align with my value, all for the sake of maybe this is going to help grow my following a bit more. And I had to have my manager just tell me, like, no, we're strictly going to stick to what aligns with you, even in as much as it might mean your following might not grow as fast, or, you know, you might not get as many collabos with other people. Just stick to being you and being authentic, and don't compare yourself to everyone else, because there'll never be anyone else like you. And I'm slowly starting to appreciate that. And that's something I keep on reiterating in my head to myself, that no one else is going to be like me. And, you know, that's what makes me unique. That's my selling point.
Yeah.
That's my selling point. Yeah, no, because I used to have really bad self-esteem issues, bro. Like, it was bad. But I'm slowly getting there. So yeah, you don't compare yourself to anyone. Stay in your lane and run your own race at your own pace. You'll get there when you get there. You know, and just think everything through if you do decide to do it. Just be intentional with everything that you do. Have a plan. Don't just go into it blindly. And as much as it might feel like it's just posting a picture or doing ABCD, have a plan, have goals, and enjoy it.
Yeah,
enjoy it.
Yes,
love it.
Jordan, do you have any 2 cents to contribute?
Okay, so my little tidbit that I will give is, I think that it's important for you, if you're someone who is in a position of influence, newly in a position of influence, or you are interested in being in a position of influence, I think it's important for you to just think about, what exactly are you selling? Let me say it like that. What exactly are you selling? What is your selling point? Like Mikey said, like, what is your message? What exactly are you trying to achieve by being someone who is in a position of influence? You know, because at the end of the day, it's pointless to just have influence and do nothing with it, because there are many other people who could use that influence for the greater good, you know? So I think it's important for you to just think, like, where am I trying to take this? Who is my audience? Who am I trying to build upon? You know, like, and also just knowing yourself, like, begin to take the steps to become more acquainted with yourself in the time that you're not, like, trying to influence. In your free time, become more understanding of yourself, so that the people in your audience can never point anything out and say, this is who, you know, for example, Mikey is, and say, Mikey is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, what. Because when people say that, it will affect you, and it'll make you think twice, 3 times about who you are. So at the end of the day, you have to know who you are, so that whatever anyone says to you does not affect you. It's just water off a duck's back, and, you know, you keep it pushing.
Yeah,
that's very true.
Definitely. Yeah, I think I definitely agree with both of you. I think it's so important my biggest thing is that be sure of who you are and what you want to put out there. Because I think once you're so sure of who you are, what you're representing, what you believe in, and be unapologetic about it. I think that's also another thing. Because the thing is, people will shoot you down for anything. Like, literally, we were talking about the $40 thing, where I'm like, but I don't even think it's a bad thing that she was saying. I think you're just trying to put a point across. And I think people just were angry. Like, people are angry in the world, guys, and they'll always look for a reason to just drag someone or whatever. So
right, it's the Oppression Olympics.
Yes, so I think, like, just be fine in yourself and just be confident. And, like, my friend's mom always says to me, she's like, be unapologetic. If you are going to be the bitch in the room, be the bitch in the room and be unapologetic about it. If you're going to be the person who is going to tell it like it is, that's fine. And, like, you're entitled to that. And I think sometimes when you become that person who's unapologetic about what she say, people will fall in line. People will end up just saying that, okay, yeah, like, this is what she said. We're not going to be angry about it, but, like, it is who she is. Like, that's her character. That's her personality. And I think as long as
like
you
Wendy.
are fine with that, but you have to be fine with that brand. Don't let someone give you that brand to be like, no, you have to be this person. And then you have to be unapologetic about being that person. No. You decide by yourself that this is who I want to be, this is what I want to represent, and go with it, guns blazing, and, like, live your best life. And yeah, that's just my 2 cents. But yeah, just to round up the conversation, I think, thank you so much, Mikey, for coming through. Like, we really appreciate it, officially coming through now as a guest on the episode.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed the conversation. I loved it.
Yeah, and I think
You guys are fun.
I love everything that your brand is about. I love everything that you represent, and I think, guys, her socials are going to be on the page, like on the screen. Sorry, I'm saying on the page, on the screen. So please make sure that you follow her and don't harass her, please. No more death threats, please. But
Right.
there was
You
something that
can harass her if it's business related. If it's business related, harass
and you're coming with money,
as
you
much
can
as you want.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So yes, and
But yeah, I just wanted to say.
Okay, cool. So just another shout out to Kuva for sponsoring us. Yes, their details will be on the screen. Also, make sure that you follow them, like their pages, order drinks. We're in lockdown, so for those of you who like a drink, make sure you do the right things to your liver and get yourself a drink. So yes, shout out to Kuva.
I think I'll give it a try.
You should. We will arrange to get
Right, exactly. It's actually a really good beer, guys. Like it's really good. I love it. I've been sipping on it, as you've seen. But yeah, I just wanted to say shout out to Mikey, guys. She has literally been like someone who has been supporting like the her hour thing for quite a bit now, and she's actually like one of the few people who are actually like cool with us and just like, hey, I'll do it. Like, come through, let us know, you know. Like,
just call me and I'll come.
Right, like it's never a problem with Mikey, and we stand you, sis. We are like, you are an honorary Hour Ranger, and we're putting you up there. Right.
No, thank you. Like, I love what you guys are doing and the fact that you're having these conversations. And we don't have enough of that in Zim. Especially with the way our society is so conservative, even just discussing anything in general. The conversations are always so limited. So I love the fact that you guys are addressing so many different things in our society. And it's amazing. And congrats also on your other show on the side, Jordan. I love it. I love it.
The name is amazing. It's amazing. We're gonna plug that in. Yes, if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, and people need to talk. I even saw it posted on Zimster Lives, and I was waiting to see what people are gonna say. And people are having conversations about it. Like, let's be honest with ourselves here. Like, that's the truth, you know. And people don't talk about that enough. Yeah. So I think it's awesome.
You know what I've been shocked about? I've been so shocked that like there's so little hate now. Like, I don't know what it is, guys. Like, people aren't trolling as much
because you're unapologetic and you make it known that.
Right, like people didn't come and troll me.
Okay. Yeah.
I was so shook.
Yeah.
I was so shook.
Yeah, because usually people will go out of their way to be negative, but there was no one even saying nothing really bad. It was either people just acknowledging that it is a truth that needs to be, like, something that needs to be addressed, and not, like, people weren't really saying anything bad, considering, you know how that page is. That page is bad. I don't even follow it.
People always have something
so I think it's good. It's a start.
So yes, thank you so much, guys. Remember to stay safe, stay masked up, 6 feet away, sanitize your hands. And remember, if you want to be a social influencer, think about it, guys. It's a lot. It really is a lot. So yes, thank you again, Mikey. Keep your beautiful light shining and continue with your amazing work and everything that you're doing. And continue to be the mostest, so that like the more famous you get, and then we can be like, oh my gosh, we're like really good friends.
Thank you so much. I receive.
Also, like, I just want to say, like, you are literally such a huge inspiration for so many Black girls in Zimbabwe. Like, I think you need to think about that. Like, there are so many little Black girls who are gonna grow up and they're gonna see you or are seeing you on Instagram, and they're like, wow, this person is so beautiful. Like, they look after themselves. Like, they have a brand. They're like doing things. Like, you have options. You have created options for yourself. This is something I speak on a lot, is like options. Because I think a lot of the times, especially women, especially Black women, trans women, people in the LGBTQIA plus community, like our marginalized groups, like we're all marginalized on this podcast, whether we like it or not. And I think that we need to always let people know that there are so much more options besides what is being presented to us. Like, if you just put in the hard work, you can have the things that you want. You know what I'm saying? So like, I love that about you and I love that for you. So shout out to you. Shout out to the little black girls that are being influenced by you, and keep doing the things.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mwah, 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 mwah. Bye, guys. Subscribe, like us, follow us, etc., etc. The stuff is on the page, on the whatever. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell another friend, and what.
Click, strike up, pose. Oh, swag, drippy, drippy. Click, strike up, pose.